Last episode, we took on the legendary Billy Goat Bluff, and for the first time ever, I had to tow a Datsun to the top. But the adventure didn't stop there. John ran into some trouble with his Jeep, and of course, it wouldn't be a proper high country trip without the breathtaking views. And you guessed it, more water crossings. Let's get back into the action and see what this week's episode brings to us next.
G'day, my name's Jamie Hazelden, and I've been travelling this great country for many years. And what I want to share with you is the great places that I've been to and the places that you can only imagine of getting to. I want to show you and introduce to you some of the colourful characters, sit round a campfire and reminisce and talk about the journey and the places that we're going to go to. So come along with me as I share this journey with you.
Well, this is our last day down in the Vic High Country, and we have a few more places to see, but first let's make up a bit of brekkie, pack up camp and head off in search of a few more places of interest. Now, there is plenty of them down here. One story I want to share with you is the story of the Wonnangatta stories. Sometime between the last day of 1917 and the first weeks of 1918, two men were shot dead in some lonely territory. The first body was found near the Wonnangatta Cattle Station homestead. It was assumed that a man named Jim Barclay, the manager of the station, had been shotgunned by a man named John Bamford. Now, don't forget this name, John Bamford. Let's head down to Wonnangatta Station and we'll continue there.
Copy, guys?
Copy.
Now, that was an awesome little camp there last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. It was absolutely fantastic. And what a beautiful morning to go with it.
Now, we've covered a few tracks. Now, let's just run through which tracks we have actually done. Like I can name the two main ones that I reckon were the hardest tracks, and that was Billy Goat's Bluff.
Yeah, we did a bit of Randalls, we did a bit of Conway, we did the Crooked River.
Yeah, it adds up, doesn't it? But it was pretty epic. And now we're going to top it off with
Blue Rag.
That's the one, Blue Rag. How good will that be?
Oh, with how beautiful it is today, I reckon we're going to get some amazing views.
Yeah, it's clear as a bell.
You know, one thing you'll always see when you're down in the Big High Country is trees across roads. Most of the time, when you get to them, they've been cut through so you can drive through and past them. But you just check out the size of some of these trees, the diameter of them. They're just huge. And if you look at this as we're driving through here, these are massive as well. But it's something you always see down here. After making our way along the Wombat Range track, we are slowly getting closer, but it's not far now till we get to
Head down to Guy Hut and then on to Wonnangatta Station. Well, we were following the track and we've got to what we believe is Guy's Hut. Now, Guy's Hut I thought was going to be a standing hut, but obviously it's been knocked down, burnt down, fallen down. I think it was built back in the 1930s, somewhere in that vicinity. But it all comes back to the Wonnangatta Station. So we're just heading down to Wonnangatta to go and check that out because there's an unsolved mystery. And of course, we're not here to solve it, we're just here to tell a little bit of a story about what happened if you don't know. And this was just part of it. But I believe it's still nearly an hour away to get to there. But I was really hoping to see this hut. I thought I'd just have a bit of a scout around the area. You never know. There's always something tucked away somewhere. But yeah, it was called Guy's Hut, but it was also called the Wonnangatta Hut. Very interesting.
It's great that these places are still marked out on the map so they're not lost. You know, you've got an idea where they are. And John and I started to make our way down to the station, and I was thinking, I can't believe just how big the Big High Country really is. We're only in one part of it, and then you look at an aerial shot of the place, how large the place is and how many tracks are evolved in there. Have you ever been and explored around the High Country? And if you have, leave a comment below of your favourite place or what's the iconic trip you want to make down into the High Country and go to and see.
We're doing a lot of downhill here. And something always to keep in mind whenever you're doing a lot of this, especially on the scaly, rocky stuff, is you can get a lot of slip, especially when you're trying to apply brakes, turning or anything like that. Make sure you've got low tyre pressures so you can bulge out them tyres to get a bit more grip. Just keep your lines reasonably as straight as you can so you don't get no slide, especially when you get some divots into the track, which you can easily slide over in one way or the other. You know, you're always in low range, and use engine compression to slow you down so you're not using the brakes to work the brakes the whole way down. It's the best way to do it. On this track I've got my tyres down at 22 in the rear and 20 in the front, because that gives me the ability of bulging, and when I want to scale up to go up the hill I can get the compound down fatter, more tread, and moves me up the hill a lot easier. When you've got your tyres pumped up, they're tall and therefore they're very easy to skip over and lose traction, and that's why you lower your tyre pressures.
The drive along the Wombat Range was a really nice drive. The scenery changed so much along the track, with long rolling hills to deep valleys. We're getting close now, one more water crossing and we're going to be there. Now back to that story. Here we are at the Wonnangatta Cattle Station homestead, where John Bamford had been employed as a cook and a station hand. A manhunt ensued, but Bamford had vanished. 10 months later, Bamford's body was found almost covered with logs near Howett Hut, about 22 kilometres ride south west of Wonnangatta Station. He had been murdered too, with a single shot to the head. There is a romantic tale that Barclay was a ladies' man who earned the enmity of a husband in one of the gold mining mountain settlements that are now a ghost town. Once the aggrieved husband's revenge had been served upon Barclay. Could this be? There are two stories. A pair of brothers who allegedly made their fortune stealing cattle from the Wonnangatta Station. Might they or their accomplices have escalated their cattle duffing to murder? Could it be that? While we're in the area, we thought we'd check out the Wonnangatta Cemetery to see if we could find any of the graves of anyone. While we were there, we found the grave sites of two families, which was the Smith family and the Bryce family. And both of them, as in Ellen Smith, she had given birth to two twin daughters, and she passed away and they passed away not long after that. Then Annie Bryce, well, she lost her 3-year-old daughter, which is buried there, and her 21-year-old daughter. But that's just, I guess, look, it was a hard life back in those days, and you can only imagine what it would have been like being so remote to anything and anyone. Now, it's time to get back in those vehicles and head off to the last piece of the puzzle, which is Snake's hut. Now we'll piece this together how it all come about.
Well, we got to another hut. This is Black Snake Hut. Now, the original hut was actually built over on the other side of the river here, and then Bamford, who's part of the Wonnangatta story of the murders, he lived in this place. And that was he moved out of here, I believe, in 1916, and then moved over to the station, Wonnangatta Station. But what they were saying by the stories, look it up yourself. I mean, that's all I've done, is they were saying that he had left his paperwork here as if he was coming back, but he never come back to get his paperwork and was found murdered 10 months later. So that's how the story goes. But this is Black Snake Hut. I don't know how long this one's been sitting here, but I can see by looking around it and walking around it, they've taken the fireplace off it, so it was a little bit longer. And I'm guessing it's had a lot of modifications ever since, but beautiful spot right on the river here.
What an awesome spot this is. I reckon we'd make a cup of coffee, go for a bit of a dip. Perfect spot for it.
Nice place for lunch.
Absolutely fantastic. So when we're getting in for a swim?
Now's a good time.
Now's a good time?
Yeah, have a bit of lunch. I've got to go and wash my clothes.
Sounds like a plan.
You know, I've been on the road now 11 days, 12 days, so better do some clothes.
Is that what that smell was?
Yeah, it is. That's why I might need a bath. Now, a simple way for anyone to do any washing when you're on the travels, like I've been on the road for probably 11 days now. It's probably my second time I've washed some clothes, but this is a lot of clothing I've got here. You can do it with a bucket with a lid. It's really simple, really easy. This is Earth Choice. This is the one I use all the time because it's biodegradable. You can actually wash it down the river. It doesn't affect it if you needed to wash it down the river, which you don't. But if you're trying to rinse your clothing out or anything like that because there's heaps in there, heaps of dirt and whatnot, it's the way to go. Now all I do is I do this like this. I throw my round river rock in. So what happens when we're in the back of the truck, she just bounces it around and does all the agitating I need. And I pull up at camp or the next part, hang my make do hand line up for the clothesline and peg up my clothes. Dry the next day or whenever. In the breezes we've got down here, it's pretty good, so it'll dry pretty quick. But that's all you do. You can wring it out. I think a hand wash, like with this one, is 30 mils, so it's bugger all. But it's as simple as that. You've always got clean clothes, there's no excuses.
Well, now all the clothes are ready to go and washed, I think it's time for me to have a bit of a scrub up, and I think we all go for a bit of a dip and a swim here, eh? It wasn't long before we were all back in the cars and heading off for the last track to conquer. Time to hit Blue Rag. It's been a while since I've hit this one, but we'd better get onto it before it gets too late in the day.
Hey Jamie, you got a copy?
Yeah, copy.
What do you think of all that?
Oh, you know, I never realised there was bull dust here. There's just no way in the world I would have thought it. But how thick is it?
Yeah, it's a bit thick, isn't it? And it just keeps coming.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many Ks we've done so far, but there's been heaps and heaps of bull dust. And I just never would have thought it here.
Yeah, well, you know, it's Victoria, mate. We get 4 seasons. I think we've got a bit of every state too.
You know what? I reckon you're right. You've got it covered in every single aspect.
We're the only place with the VIC and got the VHC.
Yeah, well, look, I was only going to say there's only one good thing that comes from here, and that's coffee.
Oh, come on, mate. Victorian High Country's another one.
No, it's absolutely awesome. Having a ball. You know, I reckon it's been probably 7 years since I went up Blue Rag last. And look, from memory, I reckon there was snow all around us when we did it. There was nothing too difficult about it. I think it might have been freshly graded back then. So it'll be interesting to see what we're in for today. Well, we're on Blue Rag. Has it been well used lately? Not like I remember the last time I come here.
Poor old John. I think he was a bit concerned that they might have graded the track, and you know, he loves his four-wheel drive and stuff, so it'll be interesting to see what it's going to be like. We didn't waste any time. We were still aired down from the last track, and some corrugations along the way. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to this. It's beautiful views up here.
Track's a bit worse than I thought it was last time, that's for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the track to be like this today.
No, I wasn't expecting it to be like this at all.
Again, out there to the right, some absolutely spectacular views. Crazy. But it's a sure old climb up here with some big divots, big holes. Slow and steady, up we go. Now it's quite interesting here because you can actually see how a solid axle works. When they're a solid axle or a live axle, it's suited better to extreme terrain or rock crawling or anything like that.
It's flexing pretty nice.
Got a bit of flex, have I?
Just a little.
Where IFS provides a smoother ride, but you've got less travel, and the suspension components, control arms, coil springs, torsion bars, the whole lot, all moves independently. So it's a lot different to your solid. Oh well, it's looking pretty scaly, let's say that. So I'll go for first gear, a bit low range. Oh yeah, that's a climb. Woo! Oh yeah, that's a steep climb. That's a very steep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo! Wowee! That wouldn't be for too much of the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Well, the Jeep really does make it look easy. With those big 37-inch tyres and the lift, this thing I reckon will take John absolutely anywhere. But look, let's not tell him that because he loves his Jeep. What a climb! What a climb! Nothing like Billy Goat's Bluff, but whew, the steep climb up. We've
got there to the top. How awesome is that? It's great. Love it up here. Love it. So nice.
Oh, crikey, it's windy up here. Wow, look at that. You know, the view, it's just sensational. Every time you come up here, it doesn't matter. And if you can stand up on your roof, whew, it looks even better. But it's amazing. Absolutely love this place. And like I say, I reckon it's been about 7 years since I was here last. Well, I tell you what, I've had an absolute ball down here in the high country again. And especially having John and Zach along because, you know, the history that we can talk about between us and get to the places, I reckon we'll be doing this again. And I don't think it'll be too long because there's a lot more places to travel and see while we're down here. But these guys have been fantastic. I looked around everywhere up on that sign because I remember putting a sticker there. I think I put a sticker there 2 or 3 times. But then John pointed it out and I spotted it. She's a bit faded. Like I say, it's been a few years. Put a new one up there. And then it'll be there for the next time I get down there in another few years.
Well, the rain's coming in now. The wind's here. It's blowing a gale, but that rain's moving in real quick. We've just finished Blue Rag. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for our next adventure.